This is Center Stage, putting lawyers in the spotlight by highlighting attorneys and other industry experts to help take your law firm to the next level. Hey everyone, and welcome to Center Stage. I am your host, John Henson, and today I am joined by attorney Brandon Pettijohn, better known on TikTok as PortCityAttorney, and that is what we are going to talk about today. We are going to talk all about finding success on TikTok. And TikTok, if you're not aware, is one of the kind of newer social media platforms. I think it really kind of blew up a lot in 2020, especially as the whole country kind of went into a lockdown and people spent more time kind of just scrolling on social media on their phones. A lot of good creators popped up. Brandon is absolutely one of them, and I am absolutely ecstatic to have him on today. Brandon, thanks. How are you doing today?
Great. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. So before we dive in, who is PortCityAttorney? What should everybody know about you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am an attorney in Wilmington, North Carolina. I practice, I like to characterize it as general litigation. So I practice criminal law, some general civil litigation, and family law. Kind of that small town lawyer where, if it's in front of a judge, I kind of deal with it, mostly doing the district court cases because I enjoy those. I enjoy that work. I am in Wilmington, North Carolina. I practice with a firm, Coastal Legal Counsel here in Wilmington. We're a small three attorney operation with some support staff. And PortCityAttorney was born out of a desire I wanted to develop my own brand. I wanted to build my own brand. There's a lot of attorneys in some smaller towns are probably familiar with the agreement that we have here is that, it's kind of I practice in an eat what you kill type of situation. I'm the associate, I'm not a partner. I don't have an equity, based in the firm, but, it's kind of, they provide me overhead I kind of go out and get my own clientele, bring them in, and then, the firm takes a cut of that. So, it's very reminiscent of, I tell people that it's kind of like I'm a realtor and, they take their commission, they take their cut based off of what, my commission. So I built the PortCityAttorney brand because I wanted to differentiate myself from the firm. The firm is, and I am as well, a Christian-based firm. We all are believers, and, we try to use, not trying to, jam down our faith on people, but, saying, right. Hey, look, we bring our faith into the ethics of our practice.
Yeah.
And we believe in that. However, I wanted to differentiate myself a little bit because when you're dealing with, criminal clients, and younger people, millennials, Gen Zers, you have to kind of deal with people as they come. I speak with CEOs one way and I speak with criminal clients a different way because right. not in a bad way, but it's different how you approach, the business. And so I wanted to develop my own brand, develop a way to show people that, hey, look, attorneys are humans as well. I wanted to humanize the profession a little bit and bring some brevity to people's situations. If you're a criminal defense attorney or a family law attorney or even civil litigation, sometimes you're getting somebody's calling you on their worst day. Yeah. And knowing that, the person you're calling is a human and they like to mess around and have fun and aren't stuffy, jerks. Sometimes that can help. And I've gotten that feedback from some of my following base.
Yeah. And that's kind of one of the things that we try to tell the lawyers that we work with. You're going to create content for lawyers in a much different way than you're going to create content for people who are actually going to be hiring you. Like the blogs you write, for example, you're probably going to have a lot more detail, a lot more legal jargon in a blog that you expect other lawyers to write versus someone who is just looking to get a DUI case handled. And maybe they don't understand the ins and outs of legal and stuff. So, especially with your case and looking at millennials and Gen Z people who a good portion of those people are on the phones a lot. They're going through, Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that. And it's a great way to reach out and to your point, humanize lawyers. I've talked a lot about before is like I had this before I started working with Spotlight Branding and everything. I had this idea that lawyers were that stuffy, super serious, almost really intimidating kind of people. But now that I've worked with lawyers and I've interacted with lawyers, like you guys are just like everyone else. You have personalities, you're easy to talk to and all that stuff. This is just your profession. This is how you help people. So when it comes to making that decision to make TikTok part of your brand, part of your marketing strategy, stuff like that, what kinds of things make for good content for a lawyer to make on TikTok?
Sure. A lot of it is trial and error. I tried, our firm has a Facebook page and I made some posts on that, early 2020 when the pandemic started, just because I had more time on my hands. And so, I'll try some guerrilla marketing. So I tried some Facebook posts. You can get a lot of feedback. I started doing longer form videos on Instagram of, general legal issues and topics. Didn't get a lot of feedback on that as well. I got some following and some views, but not a whole lot of feedback on that. And with TikTok, it was, I made a couple TikToks. They didn't really, some of them had some decent views. And then I made one that was more of that, humanizing attorneys, making a joke out of a fictitious situation. And so that's something that I do stress to people. I used to get a lot of comments like, how can you talk about clients like that? And I'd say, well, I'm not actually talking about clients. I would never do that because I'm not. Something I say often is I'm not risking my license for clout. So,
right.
I reached out to the Bar Association. I talked about different scenarios, and because there wasn't a lot of attorneys on TikTok when I started that I was aware of. And so there were some ethical issues that I didn't want to be going into it blind. So the type of content, I think that people are developing, you really have to figure out who your target demographic is. And then have some trial and error, try out different avenues, try out different types of content and see which one sticks. Which one are you going to get more views on? You get more views on that one? Okay, I'm going to develop another piece of content that's similar to that. And it snowballs. And I've had to change course several times, even after, gaining a pretty decent following base. It's just like any other. Creating content is like, kind of like equating it to following the stock market. You got, there's going to be ebbs and flows, and you got to kind of move how the market moves.
Yeah. And to that point, we've kind of seen that. I think blogging was just kind of the standard at first. Now we're seeing it shift more to video content now. I saw a stat the other day, it's like 86% of businesses use video as part of their marketing strategy. But out of that, I think only like 25% of law firms are actually doing video. And so there's a big opportunity there for law firms to do more video with their marketing. And you're a good example of how, good video marketing, and you may not even consider it marketing, it's more towards your brand and just kind of building awareness and stuff like that, which is really what we like to focus on with our strategy. And so, you're, like I said, you're a good example of just how good video can be a good part of that marketing, but it's just something that not a lot of attorneys have taken advantage of. And so, you've been doing this for, over a year now. What has your success on TikTok done for your work as a lawyer and your law firm?
Yeah. So, one of the best things about social media, in TikTok and Instagram or Facebook, it costs $0. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And so, traditionally, an attorney, if they want to get their face out there, they want to get their name out there, you got to pay for commercial spots, you got to pay for radio advertising, you got to pay for a billboard. All that is incredibly expensive. I haven't paid a single dime for TikTok. To the contrary, I was getting paid by TikTok for a while, not any longer, but I was getting paid by TikTok to make these videos. And for me, it's created kind of a brand awareness. Prior to that, I live in Wilmington. Our bar is pretty big for as small of a town we are. And so there's attorneys all over the place. And I'm not one of these guys that's been practicing for 30 years. And so, my name is not as big as some of the other attorneys. But I've constantly since then, whether it's by clerks or just people out in public, be like, hey, you're a guy on TikTok, right? You're the attorney on TikTok, you're Port City Attorney. I'm like, yeah, it's me. So it's helped me build some brand awareness. It's helped bring in some referrals to the firm. Nothing crazy. I wouldn't say that this is, better than word of mouth or anything like that. We've tried marketing in our firm before, and traditional marketing that didn't really work out for the best. We had some return on it. Again, it goes in the ROI. What's your best ROI going to be?
Right.
But it's helped build some brand awareness. It's helped build some personal, brand awareness. People kind of know who I am. Even people that aren't in trouble. I've had people contact me from TikTok and say, hey, I'm starting a business in town. I think I need a waiver. It's okay. All right. Well, we can handle that. We can certainly handle that. And so it's helped bring some referrals in the door. But I think, just general brand awareness, it's helped me develop relationships with court staff that, they're like, oh my gosh, like your videos are so funny. Like, we love seeing it. And, before, I still do this, but before, any good lawyer knows that, sometimes your clerks are your best, your best bet. And so you got to bring them food and stuff for Christmas and, just kind of like, make sure that they feel like, they're loved and welcome. And so,
right.
Being able to bring them some entertainment has helped, build relationships with people, associated with the court system, which has been good.
Yeah. And kind of one of the, sort of long-term goals that we always try to talk about with our clients is building that premium brand and giving you the opportunity to then charge like premium rates. And, just because it's like, oh, you're the TikTok guy. I kind of expect to pay more for that because, you're famous or whatever. But, you said you hadn't gotten to that point yet, but that's sort of the thing that, we try to push, our clients to do, especially, you build that top of mind awareness and all of that, which is certainly, where you're going with TikTok and all that. And that's great. So, you mentioned there weren't at least a ton of attorneys when you started. I know I spend a lot of time on TikTok. I know that there's probably 20, 30 that I'm aware of at this point. So there's still room for a bunch of attorneys to get on there. What tips do you have for attorneys out there who want to build a presence on TikTok?
I think my advice would be to kind of let your barriers down. So a lot of times something new is scary. I mean, we're talking about blogs and blogging and building some recognition that way. 20 years ago, attorneys, older attorneys were skeptical of blogging. They were skeptical of websites. I still know some older attorneys that have HTML websites. They just won't change because that's how I've always done it. It's what's made me successful. Being able to adapt to the ever-changing environment that is technology is vital. And so let some of your preconceived notions of what professionalism is, let those barriers down a little bit. I've had other attorneys, comment on my videos and say, hey, like, aren't you afraid about talking about a case or something like that? And again, I'm like, well, I'm not really talking about real cases, but they're so afraid of, and rightfully so. The bar can be very, they can decide who they're gonna go after and make an example of. Nobody wants to be that, and that's why I reached out several times to the ethics committee at the bar and was just like, hey, what ask them specific questions.
Yeah.
But let down that your guard just a little bit and allow the changing environment that is technology to kind of run its course and kind of, jump in and go with the flow instead of trying to go against it. Because I'll tell you, with the pandemic, especially in North Carolina, we're one of the last states to not have e-filing. We didn't have, electronic capabilities. WebEx was starting to come around, but the state had to really change. And so a lot of things have gone based online. And I think a lot of stuff might stay there.
Yeah.
So, technology is going to continue to change. It's going to changed for the worse, changed for the better, however you look at it, but it's changing. And so just be ready to adapt to that.
Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned that. I mean, we've had several episodes. I mean, we're just at episode 18 right now, but I can already think of like 3 or 4 episodes beforehand where people have talked about, I know we did one with Jason Canales, who talked about the changing legal landscape with a lot of things going virtual, court proceedings even going virtual, and just another one just talking about just embracing, digital stuff, embracing the social media and all that, because that's where all of this is headed. And I think you're doing a great job and just kind of being one of those forerunners and kind of leading the way, showing other attorneys that, hey, you can do this, you can have success on it. It's not a waste of time. It's easy to understand, all that kind of good stuff. And so
absolutely.
Yeah, and this has been really great. I think for people out there, even if you just heard about your kids talking about TikTok, just download it and check it out. I was a little hesitant in terms of creating content for it, because at least when I first got it, I was one of those kind of skeptical people. I thought, oh, it's just people lip syncing and doing dances, but no, it's actually a treasure trove of really good information out there. There's so many great content creators out there doing it, and so yeah, just go check it out. Follow Brandon at PortCityAttorney. Check out the content that he's doing. You can really build that brand awareness and, show off that expertise. A lot of the stuff that we talk about, really get top of mind, build that expert status, all that kind of good stuff. So Brandon, before we wrap up here, if you had one piece of advice for the attorneys out there, what would it be?
I would say, don't be afraid to show some of your personality. Good, bad, or ugly. People appreciate, some humanity in our profession, and especially a profession where people, assume that we're robotic and we lack emotion, we lack feeling. There has to be some of that disconnect, but let people know that you're human. Joke around with your clients. Have a personality outside of work and show it. That's one of my things with TikTok. I wanted to humanize myself personally. I also wanted to humanize the profession a little bit, because we are one of the most hated professions historically, and some of that's because everyone I think we're blood-sucking vultures, but hey, we're people too. We like to joke around, have fun, so let your guard down. Let the changing times of technology kind of happen, and have fun. Just have fun with it.
Yeah, couldn't agree more with everything. So Brandon, thank you so much for taking some time to join us today. That's going to do it for us on Center Stage this week. Continue to rate, review, like wherever you're viewing the show, YouTube, on your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Pandora, wherever it is. We really appreciate the feedback. And that's going to do it. Brandon, thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening. To learn more, go to spotlightbranding.com/center stage.